every Thursday I have my team. I have my team meeting, and I bring my team on, and we talk about what's happening in the market, current events, and things like that. And I've got a very definite opinion about what inflation and real estate and what's happening in the economy today. You know, we've seen house. I'm in Central Texas, for those of you who don't know, and we've seen house prices kind of level off, which is a good thing, right? We have got a lot of affordable housing here in Central Texas. But what we haven't seen happen is we haven't seen the interest rates go down. And I don't know if you guys know who Jeremy Powell is, but he's the head of the Fed. And I officially hate him. I think his monetary policy is ridiculous. And so what's happened is they're saying, because inflation is high, meaning people are still out spending money, we're still out doing everything we do, that they're not going to lower the interest rates, because they think if they lower the interest rates, then that's going to cause people to spend more money. Okay. And that's what inflation's about, is spending money. And so when we really saw inflation kind of start to peak is after, or start, like this ball kind of started with inflationary pressures, was after COVID and the stimulus checks, and so people were given government money to keep moving forward. Well, now these are all the opinions of me. Okay. I don't have a PhD in finance or whatever, but I've been around for 30 years, and I've been in the game: automotive, insurance, mortgage, real estate. And I've lived through so many ups and downs and ups and downs. But what none of us of our age had ever lived through was the government just sending you a check just because, and bailing out businesses because of COVID. And so I am of the belief that if people don't work for their money, right? They don't work for their money. They're not out having to do what we do every single day. And thank you for everybody who's come on today. Because, you might be at work and you're taking a couple minutes to listen to me. But I think it's really important to understand this concept. People were given a lot of money. And so when you're given something and you don't have to work for it, you just start spending it. I knew a person who got a stimulus check, and this person called me and said, I just got a new pair of Gucci shoes. I don't know what the check was, $1,500 or something. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, and again, I'm not trying to be all judgy weird, but like in my head, I'm thinking that's really not what that was meant for. That was meant because you were in the restaurant business and you supposedly couldn't work, so you were going to pay your rent. But instead, you got a new pair of Gucci shoes because they're $1,500, and you've always wanted a pair, and you've never had $1,500 at one time. Stimulus money. So then I see now Joe Biden is going to try to, I don't know if he'll get away with it or not, who knows, but forgive all these student loans. Now I'm thinking, the majority of these people have six-figure jobs. They're working. They can pay for their loans. So you take away that payment. This is where the conspiracy in me comes in. Okay, just saying. You take away that payment. So now they're going to have money to go buy Gucci shoes because they're not having to pay back the government. But me and you and everyone watching this, we're going to have to pay it because we're taxpayers. I'm like, there's no rhyme or reason to this. Nobody has to apply for a hardship. Nobody has to say, hey, I've got a hardship, or I'm a single mom, or I'm divorced, or I'm disabled, or I lost my job. So could you defer it until times get better, or maybe forever? That does not bother me. Bad things happen to great people all the time, and people need help. And there could be a day that I need help. So I'm not here to rain on that parade. But when he just goes blanketly and says, I'm going to forgive this many trillions of dollars in student loans, and I guarantee you they're looking at voter registration cards, for no reason. These people may not need it, but they've got that six-figure job because they had that education. I don't know, y'all, but I think that, so here's one of my stories. I was at Chick-fil-A the other day, and I love Chick-fil-A, and I love to have a Chick-fil-A sandwich. So I go to Chick-fil-A in Belton, swear on Bible, this is a true story. And I get my sandwich. I pull into the parking lot with my diet lemonade. That is like my favorite thing to do. Sit in the parking lot, listen to an Audible book, and eat my Chick-fil-A sandwich with my diet lemonade. I opened my Chick-fil-A sandwich to put on my honey mustard sauce. The patty was like this big. Now, I know how big Chick-fil-A patties are because I eat at Chick-fil-A all the time. They're like this big, like they hang over the bun. They're so big. I always have to dip my big piece of chicken that's not on the bun into my honey sauce. Like I am a connoisseur of Chick-fil-A. I know Chick-fil-A, okay? So I'm sitting there thinking, this must be a mistake. So I stop my car, turn off my car. I go inside Chick-fil-A and I'm like, hey, I just wanted to like bring something to your attention. I think maybe my sandwich it's a mistake, or it was like a half patty. It was probably about a third the size of all the other ones. And, and by the way, my sandwich and the diet lemonade was like $12.81. And I'm thinking, I hadn't paid that before either. So I'm like, So I go in and I tell the girl and I show it to her. I had not taken a bite out of it yet. I show it to her and I'm like, what do you think about this? And she's like, we've resized our sandwiches. I'm like, okay, so you've made them at least a third smaller and they're about $2 more. And she's like, I don't know. We just get them in from corporate, but you're not the first person who's brought this up. So I'm thinking, okay, the world has gone mad. All right. But when these employers have the pressure to pay college kids $20 an hour so that they'll come to work, somebody has to pay the price. When the government decides to just give out free money just because, somebody has to pay the price. And so I'm going to wrap this in a bow back to real estate. Who's paying the price? Okay, it's us. It's the real estate industry. It's you as a home buyer because interest rates have doubled, right? Because Jeremy Powell, in all of his greatness, the Fed chair, thinks that if he raises the rate, it's going to slow down. It's going to slow down people making purchases. All right, so your credit card rates are probably at 30%. I had a dear friend tell me the other day she just bought a new car, and she goes, "God, Lisa, my interest rate was 8%." I'm like, oh my God, 8% on a car, like that's nuts. But guess what? She still bought the car. Her payment's $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, she told me. She bought a nice AMG Mercedes versus $2,000 a month, which is what the one that she turned in was. About the same price car, right? What's the difference? It's the interest rate. So the Fed thinks that they're going to slow the economy by charging all of us more money, right? Raising the interest rates. So, but let's talk about how inflation can affect real estate. I think that's important, right? And one of the things is it increases the property values. The safest place to put money. Now, I'm not a Bitcoin girl. I mean, I did get crypto certified in real estate. I do, I am able to take digital payments, but digital currencies, but I don't understand it well enough that I would put my money in real estate, in crypto. I've got very good friends who do it. They're very successful. They're smarter than I am. I'm not against it. I'm not educated enough to take large sums of money and put it in that. But where I am an expert is in real estate. And, putting the money in the bank, one of our CDs, it's a tiny one, just renewed. It's the IRA that we have to put in every year. And James called me and he said, hey, the bank's not going to pay us 5% on our IRAs anymore. I'm like, what? Now remember, rates haven't gone down. This is the anticipation if rates ever did go down, but the Fed has already said that they're not going to go down. And now they want to pay us 1%. And I'm like, oh my God. And if inflation is sitting at 28% across the board, and what does that mean? I try to make things simple. That means everything that you buy on average is 28% more expensive than it was 3 years ago. 28%. Think about your interest rates. Think about food. Think about them downsizing your Chick-fil-A sandwich by a third and charging you $2 more. That's way more than 28%, y'all. I guarantee that's 50 or 60%. Okay. So it's real. So, how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your hard-earned money? How do you protect your CDs? How do you protect your investment accounts? Okay, now I know you're going to think that this is a self-serving comment, but it's not. You protect yourself by putting your money into real estate. You just do, because real estate is always going to appreciate. Okay, it might appreciate at 1%. It might appreciate at 5%. It might appreciate at 20%. But when times are good, that means like the market's rolling, da 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 da, then real estate's going up in value. When times are tough, real estate is a safe harbor because they're not making any more dirt, right? And so, I'm always thinking now, and I don't know, I don't know if it's just because I hang out with Grant Cardone so much, or if it's just that I'm just getting old and I'm worried about my money someday. But I just I think about every time when I come into some money, I'm thinking, what is the play in real estate? Where could I put this? Who could I invest with? Who could I, where could I, who could I partner with to do a deal? Which is what, you guys have seen, like Pam Goodwin and I lately doing stuff. She and I are partnering on deals. And I mean, how do you take, even if you have as little as $5,000, you can get into the game. Is it going to be easy? No. Are you going to have a really smart person show you what to do and some of the tricks? For sure. And that's not what this video is about. But I'm just telling you, every dime you make right now, every dime you make, do not go spend it on crap. Number one, it's holding, it's doing this whole inflation thing, right? It's keeping the economy spurring so strong that we can't even keep up with it. But if you could just continue to put your money together, maybe this month it's 1,000, maybe next month it's 500. You get to the point you've got $5,000 or $10,000. Y'all, you need to get into the game. You do. And even if you don't get into the game and go buy real estate on your own, you should get into something like a Cardone Capital with my friend Grant, who I trust immensely. You need to put it somewhere that the government can't come get it. All right. So that the government cannot come get it. And, and you say to me, oh, well, they can't come get it out of your bank account. Well, they can, but I'm not even going to go down that road right now. But if the dollar is so devalued, like it is right now, you put that dollar in the bank and it just sits there, and it sits in the bank and it's going to earn 2% or 3% or 4% or 5%. Okay. And it's devaluing because it's worth 28% less today than it was 3 years ago. You have 28% on average across the board. Okay. It's different in different sectors. So I'm just taking everything and putting it into one ball of wax, which is 28% average. So you have 28% less buying power today than you did 3.5 years ago. But if those same dollars were put into real estate, I'm not even saying that you would outrun inflation on it, because you may not, but you'd be very close to, because the average appreciation across the country is 8% a year. That's average, higher in some areas, lower in others, whatever. So if you earned 8% a year in appreciation on your property, at 3 years, that's 24% that you just lost in buying power. I mean, I hope this helps. Like I said, I had this whole conversation with my team today, and I told them I want them to start making long form videos and having conversations with people. The other thing to consider, and this is a big one, inflation really, really hits construction cost. Okay, what it costs to build. So that means the builders are having to pay more for their materials. They're having to pay more for their wood and their concrete and their glass and all of that stuff, their pipes. And they're paying an average of 28% more. So what does that mean to you if you're out trying to build a house? You're going to pay more. So people always say, where are the hacks? Where are the hacks? Well, the hacks are, there's a lot of really great houses on the market that are not new construction. Okay. And you're not going to get hit for that kind of inflation when it comes to that, because the house will be worth what the house is worth. a kind of a pro tip when it comes to builders: Builders like to go put in neighborhoods, and you'll see that, or they'll be like Lennar or D.R. Horton or whatever. And why do they do that? I'm going to tell you why. So they can set the price. Has nothing to do with the averages. That's why they don't put their neighborhoods and their new construction. Write this one down, y'all. This is a pro tip. That's why builders, the big custom, not custom builders, the big production builders do not put their stuff in the MLS, because they set their own pricing based on what they can get away with, knowing that their construction costs are just through the roof nowadays. I mean, glass is still a problem. Glass has been a problem since COVID, okay? And so they just go in and they build all new neighborhoods, and they say, this is the price of this house. And we don't care what the next subdivision over, what that house costs. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, because this is our neighborhood and we control the prices. And that's why builders do not negotiate on their price, because they cannot have the ebbs and flows. The ebbs and flows, they can't do it. They have to be able to control the price. So you want to go get a smoking deal on a house? You want to go, and do you want to protect your money in this crazy, insane, inflationary, overinflated fake market that's happening with the Fed and the government right now? You go get a good realtor. If you're in Central Texas, I hope you call me. But you go get a good realtor and you go find resale properties. You know, there are sellers right now that want to move. They are. You know, I've told you guys the story about mine and James's house. We sold in 2021, I think, beginning of 21 or the end of 2020. I think it was the end of 2020. And we had just refinanced it. We have a mortgage company. We had just refinanced it. So we had an appraisal on it from 4 months earlier from the appraiser. 4 months later, I sold it for $425,000 more dollars than what it appraised for 4 months earlier. And you're like, okay, who cares? Well, that's a super big deal. So what did I do? I sold it, of course, like, bye, we're out of here. And now the house is back down to, about, probably 100,000 over what it appraised for, probably right at $1 million. But that's after 4 years or 3.5 years. So, there's all kinds of fake spikes and ebbs and flows in the market and all of that. But why did my house go for so much money? Because the new home builders were not building anymore. It was the height of COVID. Everybody wanted to get their butts to Texas. They had to get out of these other states. So people were fleeing here like crazy. They would have, and interest rates were zero. I mean, I'm kidding, but 2.5%, 3%. So it was free money. So the guy that bought my house paid, at least $300,000 too much for it. But he also got an interest rate of about 2.5%. But I would rather buy the asset, the house, on sale at a good price and ride out the interest rate. Definitely would rather do that. Why? Because interest rates, they're just like, it comes and it goes. So you can always refinance the asset. You can always create new debt. But, he is going to be behind the 8 ball at some point on that house. Anyways, I can go on and on about these stories, but I'm saying, like, if you're somebody who watches this every single day, like I do, like, my entire livelihood depends on the U.S. economy. I know probably a lot of yours do also, but mine really does. Like, my husband's in the mortgage business and I'm in the real estate business. So, we watch this every day. It is a topic at my dinner table every single night. What has the Fed done today? What has the government done today to screw the American taxpayer or to hurt the American consumer? So how do you fight back from that? How do you reduce your tax liability? You buy investment properties. I told my team this today. People want to get all over these billionaires, Donald Trump, Grant Cardone, right? I actually know a couple billionaires, several, and they legally don't pay taxes, okay? Because they've got the depreciation from investment properties. So you protect your money from inflation. You put it into something that appreciates, not depreciates. You have a kick-ass tax write-off. a depreciation write-off, it's excellent. Depending on what the asset is, you can depreciate, you can do accelerated depreciation, you can do normal depreciation. There's all kinds of things you can do. And so, how is real estate not the best investment on planet Earth? It just is. And so anyways, I want to encourage all of you to think about that. Like I know I've got people from my team on here. My sales meeting went an hour and a half today. An hour and a half, because I told them, guys, we got to talk about it. We have got to talk about it. Every one of you are experts. Every one of you are authorities. You've got to go get information to people. Like, people have to understand that now is the time to buy real estate. Forget the new home builders, y'all. Forget it. They're setting the prices. You're never going to get a deal. That's why if you have ever built a home in a new home builder, now I'm not talking about a custom home builder. I'm talking about like a production builder, right? The big guys. If you've ever built a home in one of those neighborhoods, it is hell to get out of it. Hell. Because as long as that builder is building in that subdivision, they're doing incentives. I have a listing I just took right now in Star Ranch. Like, I love the house. It's beautiful. It's only a year old. She wants to sell it. Okay, cool. But guess who I am competing against is the new home. It is the builder who's still building houses and putting up $20,000 in financing incentives. Now they're holding the price of their house up here, which means you're paying for it, Mr. Consumer. So they're very hard to sell your way out of those neighborhoods. So go buy something that's already been established. Go buy something in a neighborhood. Go buy a resale. So as I wrap this up, guess where I'm going? I'm going, my good friend Russ Phillips, Keller Williams agent. I sell a lot of his stuff. He's a good dude. And he asked me to come out to his Brokers Open tonight, and I want to support him in Salado. So we're going to go over there. I love Salado. But I want to give you guys just something to think about. Gather up all the money you can get your hands on. Figure out how to put it into some sort of real estate vehicle. Okay. Whether you're, buying something with somebody, whether you're putting it into a syndicate like a Cardone Capital, whether you're going and buying your first investment property, whether you're living in your house now for let's just say you've lived in your house for a few years and you're thinking, okay, you know what you can do? Rent out the house you're in now, and then go buy another house that's owner occupied. And then you're in the investment game and you didn't have to put 20% down. Like, I can give you 1,000 ways to get into the game. But I just want to make this really top of mind to everybody out there that the government lies. They lie so much. And I don't think that we're going to see interest rate drop. I really thought we'd see them before the election. I thought for sure Biden would have to try to pull something to pull himself out. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think because of all the stimulus money that they're putting out there, and now the student loan forgiveness, people are just going to go throw that money back into the economy. It's going to keep the economy revved up. And then Jeremy Powell's going to say, nope, inflation's too high, so we're not going to lower rates and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so whatever, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. But you can play, do I want to say defense or offense? Somebody help me out there in the comments. But I want you to play defense, offense, whatever it is, and I want you to put that money into a vehicle that is backed by real estate. I do not want to see you get sucked into these new home neighborhoods. Now, every once in a while, there's some good deals. I had a client that we got a hell of a deal that we just closed, but it was a closeout on the house. It was like the last house in the neighborhood. Okay, but when you see a brand new neighborhood going in and they just start building, you better know that you're stuck in that neighborhood for 5 to 8 years before you can sell your house, because they're going to be continuing to build. They're going to have incentives. And they're going to control the pricing in the neighborhood. Whereas if all of us who live in custom neighborhoods or in whatever, we control what our house will sell for, right? And you can control it by upgrading it. You can control it by all kinds of things, putting in a swimming pool, a pickleball court, all these things that a lot of times you cannot do in these cookie cutter neighborhoods. So take control. Take control of your finances during these times when you just want to the U.S. government, and find out any kind of real estate backed investment you can get into. Think about the house you're living in now. Think about making it an investment property, meaning leasing it out so you have that asset sitting there, and go buy another property to go live in. And if you're going to do that, call me for sure, or one of my agents, or the agent that you work with. But that's a really great way to get into real estate investing, is just move out of the house you're in and buy another one, and just start accumulating houses from there. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. Hey, I'm going to be on tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on Facebook. It's a big real estate podcast, and he's doing it on StreamYard, so I think it'll be on mine. And we're going to talk more about this kind of stuff. But I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you figure out a way to, just to play the game and to beat the game. And and whoever goes to Chick-fil-A and you see what I saw on that little piece of chicken on my sandwich, shoot me an email. I just, I'm not crazy, because I asked the girl. She's like, nope, it's happening. It's happening. So anyways, if you can't beat them, join them, and be smart about what you do with your money, what you do with your real estate. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I really do believe that. So we just have to get through right now. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.